I'm 11 years old, sitting on the couch with my parents, watching America's Got Talent, when a kid named Cody Lee comes on stage with his mom, who tells us he's autistic and blind. Immediately, my family and I are wondering what he could possibly do. And then we see the piano on the other side of the stage, and we honestly think there's no way this is going to work. I mean, he can talk, he's verbal, but he's heavily autistic and can't even see what's in front of him. So he sits down and his mom gives him a little pep talk, and then he starts playing and singing at the same time. It's like his voice was trapped inside his body, his soul, his spirit, and when the second his fingers touched the keys, it just came out, all of it. Within weeks, his audition video gained over 300 million views, becoming the most viral clip in AGT history. I'm genuinely shocked the first time I see it, sitting there with my parents, watching it all happen. And then, of course, he gets the golden buzzer, which is amazing. But that moment inspired me more than I can say. It goes to show that a diagnosis doesn't mean someone is less or dumb. Cody showed that to the world. He showed it to me. But let's talk about his diagnoses of blindness and autism. Blindness, well, that one's more obvious. It's where you clinically can't see, or may be able to partially. Whereas autism is a little bit different. Autism is a neurological difference. You can't see it in someone. It affects how they communicate, how they pick up on social cues, and how they interact with the world. But most importantly, autism isn't uniform. Autism is a spectrum. But despite what most people think, that spectrum isn't linear. Some people believe that spectrum ranges from less autistic to very autistic, or high functioning to low functioning. But that's not the case. Autism is more like a three-dimensional graph, where traits can be manifested through social differences or interests, repetition, sensory sensitivities, emotional regulation, perception, executive functioning, and so many more. And just like each of those behavioral traits are assigned a color, an autistic brain is just a mix of all of those. No one autistic brain is the same as another. According to national statistics, around 2.4 million Americans in the United States under the age of 18 sit somewhere on that three-dimensional spectrum. Just like biodiversity means many kinds of living things, neurodiversity just means many kinds of different brains. It can be manifested through behavioral traits such as ADHD, dyslexia, of course autism, and even Down syndrome, which is a genetic condition that can lead to specific facial features or learning challenges. But instead of sorting people into normal versus broken, the neurodiversity idea suggests that differences such as autism or Down syndrome are a regular part of human variation, and we should learn to accommodate, cherish, and value those differences. But too often today, society translates a diagnosis into a deficit, as if the person is broken. But Cody Lee isn't broken. He's different, and his difference reached the world. And then there's me. Here I am at 3 years old, still not talking and showing a lot of weird signs and habits. I was diagnosed with a form of autism called Asperger's syndrome, which made it difficult for me to pick up on social cues and verbal tongues. I was told I wouldn't even make it into a regular school because of my diagnosis. But here I am, thriving in a world that doesn't always know what to do with someone like me. Back then, my parents didn't give up on me. They never overlooked my potential. They worked tirelessly to help me understand the various social cues I couldn't quite pick up on. I remember my brother Ryan would practice piano daily. and I'd always try to come over to him and kick him off the piano so I could get my turn on the keys. After doing this enough times, I realized that piano and music altogether was something else for me. It was a creative outlet that allowed me to express myself. As I started taking lessons and the years went by and I got better and better, I realized it was a way for me to express all the things I was feeling, things I didn't have words for. And now it's been 11 years since I started. And then here's me. I just received the Baroque Festival Gold Medal after one of my biggest piano competitions. That was amazing. Again, I was told I wouldn't make it into a regular school because of my diagnosis. But now I'm thriving. I've overcome my challenges. And I've realized music is a way for me to prove myself, to connect to others out in the world and show them what it means to be autistic. But there's still struggles. I've received special accommodations in school and on tests and exams that other kids viewed as for dumber students. But for me, they were time extensions that if I didn't receive, I would bomb those tests every time. Speech lessons, therapy programs, and other sort of special things, they were all part of my life. But I tried to shut them out. I tried to pretend like they weren't there. I tried to pretend like I was normal. But then I learned there is no normal. I learned my autism is something that makes me incredibly unique and smart and creative and all these amazing things. And I really give credit to a diagnosis that I thought would ruin my life. Fast forward to 2022, and I just started high school. I joined an on-campus program called Best Buddies, which is part of a larger international organization that focuses on building one-on-one relationships between peers with and without disabilities in order to foster friendships in a larger high school setting. But I joined because I wanted to break the stigma around neurodiversity. I felt this pull to connect with other students who may have shared those struggles that I had growing up. And maybe using music, I could connect them to that Cody Lee vision I had experienced so long ago. But as high school went on, I started pulling away. I found myself getting busy, and I was offered the chance to be popular. And made a rash decision, and I took it. Once again, finding myself chasing approval, trying to prove I wasn't less, that I was better. As more party invitations rolled in, I really started losing sight of who I was. I had lost sight of how far I'd come and what it took to be me. The people around me, they were good, they were kind and smart and cool, but they didn't really get me. And honestly, I didn't let them. I shut out the parts of me that made me unique and creative and fun to be around. I hid the parts that made me me. And in doing so, I began to lose the creative color that defined who I was. I began to lose myself. But then I remembered Cody Lee from so long ago and the vision his AGT career implanted in my mind. I'd fought for so long not to be ostracized from that social life I'd chased. I couldn't go through that again with Best Buddies since my absence in the setting had left me so far behind. But I knew I couldn't give up. I did a full U-turn. I started going to all the Best Buddies meetings I could get my hands on. Before school, the lunch tutorials, the after-school events, anything. And at first, it was slow. I felt like I couldn't connect with these kids. Like maybe I drifted too far from where I came from. But over time, I began to understand them. And that vision and that connection between these students and my Cody Lee experience grew stronger and stronger. Fast forward to March of 2025, and I'm walking all the way across my high school campus trying to get a giant electronic piano keyboard out of the trunk of my minivan. And what am I doing, I ask? This thing is heavy, it's awkward in my arms, I'm not sure which classroom I'm going to, and I don't even know if this is gonna work. But after the long walk, I make it to the classroom, and I set up my keyboard, but I'm nervous. My fingers are shaking, they're hovering above the keys, and then boom, 20 neurodiverse students flood into the classroom. This one is my favorite, I say, as I play the opening chords to Golden Hour, one of my favorite songs on the piano. Immediately, this kid, Nolan, who's usually by himself, likes to do his own things, he's captivated. He starts dancing and he's clearly drawn to the music. But then I see more students who don't engage as easily start to pick up interest in the music. They're all clapping, they're dancing, they're jumping around as if they're connecting with the music on some super dimensional level. It was magical. But more than anything, I feel the palpable joy of being in the room with these students. And I saw for myself how music can talk when voices can't. It was a Cody Lee moment, but I wasn't the one lighting up the room, it was the students. You see, I'd asked the teachers and aides of my school's neurodiversity program, Best Buddies, also STEPS, if I could lead the students in something involving music. So, with the aide's approval, I shadowed the head teacher, Miss Radley, and went into her class, learning how she managed the students in the classroom and how she gave her lesson slide structures. After taking from her ideas, I designed a 4-session workshop that integrated music-related activity into the regular classroom routine. My lessons, they were fun. They had activities and fun games, but they had structure, and they took planning. With lessons based on rhythm, movement, and call and response, I organized a series of music-based games such as Melody Mingle, Musical Red Light, Green Light, and Musical Four Corners. Games involving music where when paused, an event would occur, encouraging the students to interact with each other. For example, I would pause a song and yell, "High five a friend," or maybe find someone wearing a red shirt. Or one of them was thumbs up or thumbs down for that synth part. So students, the nonverbal ones, could show their emotions through gestures. Though my lessons were only across a short few weeks, they managed to have a profound impact on the students in the classroom. Every activity showed what I believe, that music isn't just something outside of the class. It's actually within, helping you feel motion. It became this great shared experience. The joy that I got after finishing my lessons with the students in the classroom really gave me good closure. It helped me prove what I'd set out to prove, that being neurologically different isn't a bad thing, and that it often comes with amazing talents or skills. For example, one kid knew geography better than probably Google Maps and could name any fact about any country. It was incredible. You could ask him the population of Egypt or how many roads there were in New Zealand, and he would know off the top of his head. It was incredible. But more than anything, I've realized that music may not find all of these students like it found me. But the bigger takeaway that I got from the whole experience is what it means to be neurodiverse. The creativity, the joy, and the character and passion that lie deep within the label, the part that everyone misses. I'm here today because when I see a cruel video on my TikTok feed or Instagram making fun of autism or Down syndrome in a joking manner, it saddens me that people can't understand what lies beyond the title, beyond the accommodations. It's so important that we recognize everyone's differences and what we define success by. As Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of Boy Scouts, once said, "To lead a successful life, you must leave this world a little better than you found it." we have to remember to embrace what makes us all unique as people, as a race, and as a global community. Because autistic doesn't mean less. Neurodiverse just means seeing the world through a different lens or set of colors. It's different. If being more understanding, patient, and compassionate with others aligns with their values, then please feel free to scan my QR code that serves Best Buddies. I'll send you updates about community events and other Best Buddies related activities so we can stop being impatient with others and start meeting them where they are. Because the real problem isn't inside the student. It's inside our tendency to see deficit instead of difference. Because different isn't broken. It's human. Thank you.